obsessed with conversations and just how much they impact our world, how powerful they are, especially when you're in the right conversation at the right time with the right people. So stay in your lane, right? My name is Brittany Simone, and this is my morning thoughts from my meditations. And conversations are powerful. And the reason why I titled it Stay in Your Lane is because a lot of times we want to get into a conversation that we have no language or experience about. You know, your experiences articulate your story. How can you articulate a story about being a millionaire when you're not? How can you articulate a story about being a parent? In some cases, it does work, but when you're not. Because yes, you may be watching children all the time, but you're not the one who's responsible for how they eat, how they sleep. If they need certain medical attention, you can't make that call. They have to contact the parents. And in conversations, there are many different conversations. And when you stay in your lane, you stay in your lane because you articulate your story by your experience. I am a 32-year-old single woman. I know nothing about marriage. I am a 32-year-old single woman with no kids. I know something about parenting that I do know. However, it's still certain things that I can't make the call for because yes, I watch them all the time, but they're still not my children because they still have a parent who is saying, no, I don't want this, no, I don't want that. So stay in my lane. I am a 32-year-old single woman, and there are certain conversations that a 42-year-old woman can have that I can't. There are certain conversations that a 22-year-old woman can possibly have, but I don't know her life and I'm not in her shoes. Her experiences may be, I went straight to college, right? Which I understand. At the high school, I went to college. But now her whole conversation is business owner. At 22, I didn't own a business. I wasn't even thinking about business. So stay in your lane because yes, I may have the wisdom to help her and instruct her, but there is more language in that conversation at a 22-year-old woman that she has that I don't. So yes, I can say, well, I'm 32, I know, but I don't know anything about running a business from experience. I can go read a book and Google it and tell you all the facts and figures. But the truth is, I'm not in her shoes. So when I say stay in your lane, it doesn't mean that you cannot graduate to that level of conversation by understanding the language, of course. But understand who you are so that you can generate your own conversation. You can articulate your own story from your experience. Yes, I like sports, but I'm not really big into looking at how the player has played, what they did last season. That's not what I'm looking for. I just like the player. I just like the sport. I like the plays. I like the rundowns. I like the playbooks. I like how the team is set up. That stuff I do know. Certain things that I can look at it and say, oh, you should do this and they should do that. Yes. But if they want to go back 10 years from the team, no language. So I can't tell them, oh, this is going to be this and this is going to be that, when I really have no idea, because 10 years ago, I was doing the same thing, just being a fan of the sport, not actually wanting to be a novice or an expert in certain things. Now, there are certain people who are in certain conversations that will tell you to stay in your lane, and it's not because you can't enter into that conversation and learn the language. It's because they're feeling like, I know more about this right now. And truth be told, I'm afraid that you're going to know more than me. You're going to make me look silly. And so now it's, you need to stay in your lane. You don't know what you're talking about. Of course. That's why I'm here, because I want to learn. Obviously, you do. But you'll find a lot of people, and my spiritual father has called it a lost leader. They could be a leader in helping me come into this conversation by teaching me the lingo and the language, like a nickel or a dime defense. I know a little bit of it, But I want to talk to that person who knows a lot about it, who knows how to audible, who knows how to change it. What is the middle linebacker goal? What is the safety goal? What is the strong safety goal? Do you need that many safeties, or do you need, those are conversations that I want to know in more of the play aspect. But if you're one of those who feel like I got to tell you everything because I don't consistently or completely understand it, and you want to tell me, you don't know what you're talking about because I know what I'm talking about, I've been doing this for years, you're that person who 9 out of 10, you've made it to your glory days and you want to live in that glory day and you're afraid of having someone stand on your shoulders. But that's what I mean by stay in your lane. Because if you really want to know more about that conversation and learn that language, you'll find the right person. And to that person who's a lost leader, who has the opportunity to impact someone's life with their wisdom, you're not staying in your lane because you're the shoulders they're supposed to stand on. You're the wisdom. You're the giant. Even though some people may think that's insignificant, but it's still powerful because now you're helping pass on that conversation and that level of knowledge. There are a lot of conversations that die out because the leaders who are supposed to be there don't want to pass on that leadership because they're standing in their glory. But yes, being a spiritual Christian woman, what does the Bible say? We go from glory to glory. So even in that, don't allow yourself to get so stuck in where you are that you don't want to go to the next level of glory. But when you stay in your lane, that conversation elevates and there's a different level. Being a parent, that conversation elevates and goes to a different level because the conversation of being a parent of 1 child to 6, it changes. It definitely changes. It's something else that you have to have the language for when you're parenting 6 children. But when you're trying to stay where you are, or not trying to stay in your lane as a parent, and you still want to go back to your high school days, there are 6 lives that you don't get a chance to impact with information and wisdom because you're not willing to stay in the lane as, I'm a parent now. That lane, of course, as parent can grow. You could be a parent who's a business owner. You could be a parent who is a counselor, a therapist, whatever it may be. But when you stay in your lane, you know your path, you know your purpose, you know what you desire to have, who you desire to be, and you'll start connecting yourself with the people who can help you get to where they are when they are bigger than you. And you can also reach back and pull up some people who are going through what you've gone through. Because there are so many different conversations. So many different conversations. There's a conversation for everything. But when you stay in your lane, you have that focus. When you stay in your lane, you'll have that ability to do what it is that you desire to do. And you can be more powerful. More powerful. Because a stream of water is more powerful when that consistent flow is going in one direction. But when it begins to break off in many different tributaries, many different pathways, it kind of lessens it. It doesn't always make it as powerful, but it does kind of lessen the flow of it. But even in that, if you're in business and you want to expand what you do so that it begins to be multiplied into more possibilities, like Apple, they started with just doing a personal computer. Now they're working on a car. But they're staying in their lane because they're not looking to become a car maker. They're just looking to bring all of their operating system and their capabilities to this hunk of metal or plastic to help you navigate through your life with their operating system. Much like your phone, you have GPS. They have a lot of capabilities with the smart chips. They have a lot of capabilities with software. They have a lot of capabilities with different apps because now you have Apple Car. So they're saying, why not put our stuff in our own car? But because they're staying in their lane, you're not going to find them try to make the cars themselves. But they're going to go to many different companies and borrow their language and their conversation to help give you a final project. That's just like the phone. It's not completely made in Apple, but they have a conversation of an operating system and software and different aspects of it, to where this company over here wants to make a chip that's faster to help with processing. This company over here wants to help with a container or casing to put your phone in. This company over here saying you want a a screen that doesn't chip or doesn't chip as easily. And my last 4 iPhones I have not broken because I have a temper and I will throw my phone. The outer box broke, but the phone didn't, because they wanted to have a phone that had a screen that was able to handle impacts, even water damage. They had to collaborate with someone who has that language in that conversation to bring you an iPhone 13 that has an amazing camera. Apple doesn't make cameras, but they partner with the companies that do. They keep them in the conversation of, we are a mobile device technology provider with different softwares and different aspects of our company. We make phones now, we make watches now, but at our source and our core, we're still Apple, the technology giant that makes these amazing apps and this amazing software and operating system. And yes, some of the things we may not completely like, which is Safari and the cookies, but you'll put up with it long enough to have it. But I'm going a little too long about this video. I didn't want it to be too long, but I just get excited. When you know your lane, you're willing to stay in it, and you're willing to borrow different conversations and languages to help you do what you do. But as always, it starts with you. Because if you don't have that language, you have to find somebody who does. But use your discernment, because some people may not like the fact that you want to stand on their shoulders, and their shoulders might not be that big. Or they want to stand on your shoulders when you're just now starting out. That's a whole nother conversation, but I'm not going to cover it right now. So stay in your lane. Know your conversation first. Get your foundation, and then everything else will show. And so, yes, I am Brittany Simone. I hope everyone has a very, very good day, and I'll see you later. Hasta luego.